Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is September 2024 and this is the 154th video of tracking our net worth every month. Started at the age of 18 back in May of 2012 and here we are a little over 12 years later and we have made a lot of progress, so we'll go ahead and jump right into it. Income for September, just the same $13,403. Basically the exact same as what it's been for the past few months. I'm salary, so it doesn't matter if I work 50, 60, 100 hours a week. I'm going to make the same exact amount. I don't really get bonuses, so I'm paying about $3,200 in taxes. I'm putting $800 in my 401k, $633 in the HSA. I am maxing that out, and then $345 in insurance, taking home $8,427. That will be the same for October, my income, and then November I should make 3 paychecks, so it should be roughly 20,000 in gross income for November for me. For my wife, she got 2 weeks of, or I guess a full month of adjunct teaching, so she made $1,048, brought home $855 of that. Both of our rental properties paid their rent this month, so they've been doing good for the past 5 years or so. Yeah, since December 2019, so we're almost at 5 years. So $2,525 there. No extra income this month. I'll talk about that now. We were hoping to get the invasive species money this month, which was like $14,800 roughly. The forester was supposed to come out, I think it was the last weekend, but unfortunately we had some bad weather, so they had to postpone it until October to come out and check our invasive species level. I am feeling that we will pass that threshold that they're looking for. So hopefully early October we'll get a check for just under 15,000. So I was hoping that would come in September, but yeah, we're just a little bit delayed with that. So October should be a pretty good month for extra income. And then I am wrapping up some firewood as well. We'll be at about 7 full cords, so that should be like maybe $2,200 somewhere in there if I sell all that this winter. So we'll see that probably come through December. Total gross income for the month, almost 17,000, and then take-home pay was 11,800. No major milestones, I guess, this month. Yeah, I'm over the $1 million mark in gross income that I've earned in my life. Rental income has been 152,000, and then our other income has been 439,000. So one, I guess, somewhat exciting thing I did this month. This morning, I definitely geeked out on all of my investments and stocks and 401ks and the rate of returns that those have gotten over the past 12 years versus how well that we've done in real estate. So first, I'll go over stocks. And this shows the contributions that my wife and I have made to our 401ks for the past 12 years. So when we started out in 2014, it was just me at that time, so I put a little under 3,000 in. And then you can see our contribution. These are our total contributions, cumulative. So each year it gets bigger and bigger. So far we have put in 356,000 into our 401ks, and that includes our HSAs as well. And then today, those accounts are worth $599,932. So not quite 600,000 and not quite double. So that was the thing that triggered my curiosity this morning. I would have sworn that my investments over the past 12 years would have at least doubled the contributions that I put in there, and it has not actually. So we have made about 243,000 off of the 356,000. So it's not quite doubled. And if you know the rule of sevens, if you get a 7% rate of return for 7 years, your money should double. And so we've been averaging more than 7%, but most of the money that we've put in has been in these last 5 years here. So we went from 87,000 in 2019 to 356,000. So we've definitely been piling money into our 401ks for the past few years. So I wanted to compare, am I doing better or worse than the S&P 500? So here is the S&P 500's rate of return for those exact same years. So in 2014, it was 11%, just down a little bit in 2015, 2016 up, and you can see on and on and on. So this year it looks like we're up about 20.3%. And then this is the cumulative average. So for the past 12 years, or for the past 10 years, sorry, the S&P 500 has done just under 12%. So that is the goal that I was shooting for. So here is our returns. So our averages each year, mainly 2015, we killed the S&P 500, 53%. And then, it seems like every year we really beat the S&P 500, like in these years here. And then when we lose pretty big. So my portfolio usually models the Nasdaq a little bit more than it does the S&P 500. So it's a little bit more on the swinging side. It goes up, big ups and big dips. So in 2022, we lost 31%, gained it all back in 2023. So beat the market here, underperformed the market the year before, and then we've killed the market this year 27% for our investments. So our average for the past 10 years has been 16.5%. And that's still not enough money to double our contributions of 356,000. So I'm pretty happy with 16.5%. I really had some good years here. I remember making these videos here in 2019 and 2020. And I remember my 401k was, I mean, it seemed like it was doubling every year. But unfortunately, I just didn't have a whole lot of money in there. I had 40,000, it went up to, 80,000. And yeah, there wasn't a whole bunch in there. So it's kind of exciting. We're at 600,000 now. And so if we have a pretty good year, a 20% on 600,000 is $120,000 that we'd get in 1 year. So it seems like our snowball has started to build some momentum, and exciting to see. So if you're a visual person, here's some graphs. The blue line here is how many contributions that we've contributed, and then the orange line is our total investments today. So we're 350,000, our total portfolio is at 600,000 just for stocks. And then our rate of returns versus the S&P. S&P is blue, our returns are in orange. So it looks like most years we outperform the S&P. Some years we don't quite match the S&P, but overall we are beating it pretty good. So exciting to see. So I did not know that before today, that for the past 10 years, we've averaged a 16.5% rate of return for our investments. So I'm pretty pleased with that, I would say. Nothing to scoff at. Professional investors, Warren Buffett and everything, that's exactly what they're shooting for. And I would say I am definitely not on the level that they are. I've just picked good growth stock mutual funds, and growth stocks have done well for the past 10 years. So, but the question is, how does that compare to real estate? Does real estate underperform stocks? Does real estate overperform stocks? And if you know me, I've purchased and sold 8 different houses at this point, and we've got 2 rental properties in the house that my wife and I live in now on 66 acres. So we've been heavy in real estate since, I think, yeah, since 2015. So about the exact same period of time. Instead of 10 years, is maybe 9 years, but close enough to do a pretty accurate comparison. So here's what I've done. I've taken each house, and with real estate, you have a few advantages that you do not have with stocks. The first advantage that you have is you can buy, let's say, a $500,000 house with $100,000 down, and the appreciation that you get is based off the 500,000. So if your house goes up 10% in value, you've gained $50,000 in equity on the house, but you've only put $100,000 down. So you've just made a 50% rate of return. So that is the biggest benefit with real estate, is the leveraged returns that you've gotten. And that is what has helped me tremendously. And we'll see here in a second how that compares to stocks. But the first house I bought in 2015 was $12,000. I had it for a little over a year, sold it for 33,000, made 29,000 profit. So that's a 204% rate of return for that 1.2 years. For house number 2, bought it. I put 20,000 down on that house and ended up selling it for 100,000. So I made 59,000 in profit while I owned the house. Had it for a year and a half, so that was a 200% rate of return. House number 3, put 50,000 down, sold it for 244,000 a little over a year later, made $75,000 or 130% rate of return in that period of time. House number 4, put 64,000 down, sold it for 392,000. That house my wife and I just moved out of a year and a half ago, made a profit of 166,000 or a 52% rate of return per year over the last 5 years here. So I am taking um, the amount down divided by the total profit divided by the years that we own the house. So this is 52% per year for those 5 years. House number 5, put 20,000 down, sold it for 55,000 and then made 31,000 profit. So 86% return in just under 2 years that we had that house. And then house 6, house 7, very similar. These are the 2 rentals we own today, 5 years and 4.3 years. 22,000, 24,000 down. I have not sold these houses. But this is the current value of each of the houses today, 206 and 195. So I've made 95,000 in these 5 years with house 6. I've made 85,000 on house 7 in these 4 years. So 86 and 82% rate of return per year on both of those rentals. And then we've got land and our house that we live in now. So 40% on the land, 58% on the house we live in right now. So we've only lived there a year. So, everything aside, we've spent $386,000 on real estate over the past 9 years. Some of that is buying houses in cash, some of that is putting 20% down. We've pretty much always put 20% down on houses. And so, for the past 9 years, I've purchased almost $2.4 million in real estate, so just under 2.4. A lot of that real estate I've sold off, and so I've profited 654,000 out of my 386,000, and it's taken me 9 years to do that. So, and that is the worst case. That's just, buying it for X price, selling it for X price. This does not include rental income. This doesn't include tax benefits. It doesn't include, all the other stuff. So we're averaging a 19% rate of return on real estate. So it's better than stocks where we're at 16 something percent. I would say the main difference that we see with real estate is if I could do it fast enough, it would be a lot higher than 19%. So right now, we've not purchased a rental property for 4 years and 4 months or something like that, just because there's none where the numbers make sense. But the ones we are buying, they are killer deals. Let's see what the worst one here. So the worst deal that we've done is probably this 52% on the house we lived in for 5 years, which is, still really, really good. But if I could do one of these a year, I'm at 86% return, almost doubling your money every year. The problem is there's not enough inventory of the houses that are that price range to get that rate of return. So basically, I'll do a deal. I'll buy a house, I'll remodel it, I'll sell it, and then I have to wait another year or two to find another house like that. So that's what's bringing my rate of returns down is this 9 years, and it'll be 1 year of really busy and then 2 years of waiting. 1 year of really busy, 2 years of waiting, and so the average is about 19%, and I've still made 600, well, I guess maybe 300-ish thousand profit. So almost doubled my money in the past 9 years with this. But the cool thing with real estate is a lot of these are rental properties. So I've profited about $26,000 in rental income. I've made 139,000 in rental income in my lifetime, as we saw earlier. However, I've had to spend 112,000 on renovations, on new roofs, on foundation repairs, paint, carpet, countertops. Every appliances. So I've profited about 26,000. A lot of this though goes into the appreciation of the house, but again, we're not counting that. Another thing to take into account too is the tax benefits, which don't really impact me now that my gross income is over 150,000. But there were about 3 years where my income was under 100,000, taxable income under 100,000, so I could write off $25,000 in losses on the LLC every year. As my income got bigger and bigger, and I would max out 401ks, and I still couldn't get my income low enough. Once I exceeded the 150,000, I no longer get the tax benefits of real estate. So I don't have to pay taxes on the money because we show a loss each year, but that's another thing. So in my lifetime, I've saved about $13,200 in taxes, federal taxes, based off having the real estate here. So total return, I've spent 386,000. It looks like I profited just under 700,000. And then so overall rate of return for real estate is 20% compared to the stock return of 16.5%. And if anyone wants to pause the video, here's all my math. These are all my numbers here, how much I've contributed. We've even included the match from my employer. We've included HSA matches each year. My wife's employer match, her contributions, all that stuff. So if you want to pause the video and check out the numbers, feel free. So jumping into the net worth here for September, no changes with any of our property. Yeah, we didn't sell any cars, buy any cars, just the houses went up their standard 2%. I still do feel like house number 7 and house number 5 are a little bit undervalued. Now that I have my real estate license, I can save 2.5%, 3% or whatever the commission may be if I sold the house. So it's probably closer to 215 and maybe 205 for these. But again, just being conservative. For land number 8, 66 acres, just went up, let's see, 600 and so dollars. So we're are over 400, 401,000, and that's probably about right for the area that I live in. Maybe would be 6,000, a little over 6,000 an acre here, way out in the country where we're at. And then house number 8, we're at 768,000, so that's appreciating nicely. And then the main thing this month is investments. So HSA was up $1,400. My 401k was up $7,000. My wife's 401k was up about $4,000. So overall, we were up 12,000 in our investments. So really, really good month. The market was, I feel like it was everywhere. Again, I feel like we started S&P was like 5,500, 5,600. We went up to like 58 for a day or so, and then back down as we close out the month here. I guess there's technically one more day, tomorrow, Monday, but um, nevertheless, we're closing it out. So we are at $599,933. And something that has helped me a lot this month. We had a large portion in my Roth IRA was in Alibaba, and I had been purchasing Alibaba in the 60s and 70s for a long time. It was a fantastic value play. Um, the way that the company was growing and just the cash that they had on hand compared to what their market cap was. I had been purchasing Alibaba for probably 3 years, I would say. And the Chinese government announced a stimulus check this month. So Alibaba just skyrocketed from like 80 a share up to like 107 a share. So I think my Roth IRA gained 15,000, 16,000, something like that just from Alibaba. So exciting to see, but I had been waiting on that for 2 or 3 years. So we'll see how it runs. I'll continue to run the numbers. They've been paying nice dividends here recently too, so I can't complain. Debts, made minimum payments on these three here. Again, these are all like 3% interest rate loans. Our main goal, the main focus that I am trying to get accomplished here is paying off house number 8. This is the house my wife and I live in. We built this house about a year and a half ago. Cost about 700, maybe a little under 800,000, and we are down to 419,000 on this house. And so it's been a slow, I'd say very slow grind. It's only been a year and a half. We've made huge chunks, but it'll be like some months we'll pay off 15, 20,000. And then the next month, it'll be 4 or 5 months of maybe throwing 1,000 at it here and 1,000 at it there. So that's how it's kind of been for the past like 4 or 5, well, 5 months now. We were at 428, now we're down to 419. So this month I threw a little over $1,000 at it. Again, we had to pay the invasive species people a couple $1,000s to finish up their stuff. We were hoping to get the 15,000 from that this month. Unfortunately, will come in October, so I will immediately throw that towards the house, and that should put us at like 405,000 roughly. So it'd be nice if I can finish off the year under 400,000 owed on house number 8. But we will keep progressing, keep focusing on it. Only other thing to note there is I mentioned last month I got my real estate license. I was working on finding a firm to work for. I have hung my license with a firm in my local area. It's the number one office in my local area, so they do the most volume. There's about 40 agents that work at the office. I did join a team, so I am working, well, I'm working a couple jobs at the moment. So I still work in pharmaceuticals. It's one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. I am in a remote job now, or 50-50 until the end of the year. But once 2025 comes, then I will be fully remote, which will be nice. So I do that during the day, and then when I take PTO and stuff and work nights and weekends if I can with real estate. So I'm just figuring it out, getting trained. I have not sold any houses yet. I've done a few open houses, but really, a really slow start. So interest rates are a little bit rough, but it is exciting. I Now that I'm a licensed real estate agent, I can see all of the access to stuff that typical people would not have, and the advantages that you have in buying like rental properties or investment properties as a real estate agent. It's crazy. Just all of the access that you have to everything. So maybe that's a video for another day. But no income yet with that. Actually, it's only been expenses. I probably spent 3 or 4 thousand on all of the associations that you have to join and board of realtors and stuff that you have to be a part of, MLS fees, all that stuff. they really hand it to you as a realtor. So probably the first two houses I would sell this year would just be to go to pay all of those fees of being a realtor. Then the third house would be a little bit of profit, and then the fourth house, and so on and so on. But the broker that I have joined, he does huge volume. So he probably sells 80 houses a year. Anywhere from $2 million houses down to $50,000 houses. So yeah, I mean, if you're at that level where you can sell 80,000 or 80 houses a year, 100 houses a year, that are in the 300, 400,000 average price range, you can make close to a million or over $1 million a year just being a real estate agent. So hopefully I can build up the business and get there eventually, but not quite, definitely not quite there yet. So cash, we're at 40,000. Again, I saved about $1,000. I just threw that at house number 8. Investment or rental property checkings account is at 26,151. So really good month there with no maintenance that we had to spend at all. Um, Really just water bills and trash bills this month. So yeah, saved about $800, which is really good for the rental properties. This is the highest we've ever been in for this account, 26,000. So total cash 66,000. Net worth at the end of September here is 1,560,000. So nice, almost $20,000 jump compared to last month. And I'm hopefully I can finish out the year, 1.6, 1.65 million somewhere in there. But just to reflect here, we are really doing a good pace. So we're at 1.56 million. If I rewind just 12 months ago, we were at 1.18 million. So we've saved about $380,000 on our net worth in the last 12 months. So really doing well there. Saving about $32,000 a month. So yeah, the things are really picking up. Um, Goal pace here. The goal is to have $4 million by 40 years old. I think that may be closer to 5 or 6 million now that I think of it. We just keep outpacing it over and over and over every month. So even when we don't have a good month, we're still outpacing it. But it really depends what the stock market does. So the goal of 4 million by 40 years old, we are $477,000 ahead of that goal currently. So we should hit probably 2 million maybe next year if things go really well. That would be pretty crazy, but we just hit a million a couple years ago. So anyway, a quick reference if you want to look at the amortization schedule of house number 8 here. Here it is, how much extra we put per month. So $1,031 this month. But yes, September, wrapping up the month with $1,560,000. So overall, pretty good month. A lot of things we're working towards, a lot of exciting updates. Very thankful that I don't have to drive into work 5 days a week. It was an hour and 15-minute drive each way, so 2.5 hours a day. So being able to work remote helps a ton with that. It's exciting, the real estate stuff too. It's a whole new world of stuff that I'm new to. I'm learning. I'm learning all the tricks of the trade, and then I have the opportunity to learn from people that have been in the business for 20 or 30 years. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff going on. But yeah, if you have any questions, comments, things that you'd like to see in future videos, just comment them down below. Next month's videos are on the screen now. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, just shoot them down below. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.